Vikings, let's win this game.
Vikings fans, things are heating up in Minnesota. The Vikings could be lining up a savvy move with a bold NFL draft trade. There's also a major decision looming around a key defensive name. The offense is still unsettled, and Tom Pelissero just made it clear where things really stand, and that last story hits in a way nobody saw coming. Let's get into it. There are moments that really mess with your head, because it's not just about picking a player, it's how you make that pick. And this time, there's an idea floating around that completely breaks away from the safe approach people expect from this team. The talk right now is about an aggressive move up the draft board, not just jumping 1 or 2 spots. We're talking about climbing all the way into the top 10, and that, my friend, doesn't happen without paying a serious price. The trade would involve valuable mid-round picks. That's the part of the draft where you usually build depth, and that's where the debate starts. Is it worth giving all that up for one player? And then comes the name at the center of it all. Caleb Downs, a safety out of Ohio State, a player with incredible game awareness. It's not just physical ability, it's not just speed, it's intelligence. He looks like he knows what's coming before the snap even happens. Some top analysts are calling him one of the best overall talents in the entire class. This isn't just about position value, it's about total impact. And that completely changes the conversation, because when talent reaches that level, you start thinking differently. Now imagine this, Brian Flores with a player like that in his defense. Man, this could turn into chaos for opposing offenses. Seriously, his system relies on fast reads and aggression. Downs fits that perfectly, but it's not that simple. Safeties don't usually go that high. Some people will push back. They'll say it's not worth the investment, and I get that. The draft is also about balance, but at the same time, when has playing it safe ever taken a team to the top? This move would say one thing loud and clear. This team doesn't want to stay stuck. It doesn't just want to compete. It wants to take a leap. And decisions like this separate average franchises from real contenders. There's another important point. Right now, that position isn't fully locked down. There are solid players, sure, but there's no true game changer. No one who shifts the entire level of the unit. Caleb Downs has that profile. He's ready to step in, ready to make an impact, and that matters a lot for a defense trying to become feared again. So let me ask you, would you make that trade? Would you give up those picks to move up and get him? Tell me what you think, because this kind of decision splits any fan base. Because if this actually happens, it won't just be a draft pick, it'll be a statement. And what comes next could shake this roster even more. Quick ask. Subscribe to the channel and jump into the comments. Your opinion matters here. Now hang on, because this next one gets a little more serious. When the name of one of your defensive pillars starts popping up in trade rumors, something is going on. And it's not small. This conversation has been circling all offseason. Not loud, not dramatic headlines, but it's there. Constant, that feeling that something could shift at any moment. And then the name comes up, Jonathan Greenard, a guy who, if you only look at raw numbers, might not blow you away. But when you watch the film, everything changes. Constant pressure, strong run defense awareness, physical presence. He brings way more than the box score shows. Some analysts are saying trading him would only make sense for a massive return, a high draft pick. Something truly significant. And honestly, that makes sense. You don't move a player like that for anything less. Now think about where this defense is right now. There's young talent developing, yes. There's potential showing up. But there's still a lack of consistency in key areas. And you're going to remove one of your most reliable players? That's risky. Very risky. And there's more. There's the durability factor. It's a long season. Injuries happen. Rotations matter. You need depth. You need players who can hold the line when things get tough. Greenard fits exactly into that role. Not just a starter. Stability. He's the kind of player who keeps the level steady when others fluctuate. But at the same time, the NFL doesn't ignore contracts nearing their end. Everyone knows that. When that moment gets closer, decisions become colder, more strategic. Then came the statement that eased things a bit. The coaching staff made it clear they expect him to stay, that he's part of the plan, that he's not expendable. But we know how this works. Conversations shift fast. One offer comes in and everything changes. We've seen it before, more than once. And there's another factor. If the young pass rusher keeps improving, the pressure to make a decision increases, because then you start thinking about the future of the position. But football isn't only about the future. It's about now too. This team needs to compete immediately. You can't remove a key piece and expect everything to fall into place. It's a tight rope. On one side, long-term planning. On the other, immediate competitiveness. And Greenard is right in the middle of it. For me, moving him only makes sense if the return is massive. Anything less, and you're disrupting a structure still being built. And when this kind of uncertainty creeps into a locker room, it goes beyond the field. Players feel it. The locker room notices. And the next story shows that this tension isn't just on defense. There comes a point where maybe just isn't enough anymore. Eventually, someone inside speaks up, and everything shifts. And that's exactly what just happened with the offense. The question of who will lead this team has been building for months. A lot of nice talk, a lot of messaging about development and patience. But behind the scenes, the competition was already happening, and it was intense. Then came the update that basically puts an end to part of that discussion. Carson Wentz is in, yes, but not as a true contender. He's the third option. Depth, insurance. Nothing more than that. Which means the real battle is between two names, J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray. And now, things get serious, because this isn't just about the present, it's about the future of the franchise. Kyler comes in with experience. He's already proven himself in the league. Elite talent, mobility, arm strength, the ability to break a defense with one play. If you look at today, he has the edge, no doubt about it. But on the other side, you've got the long-term investment. McCarthy is young, still developing, but the team invested heavily in him. There's expectation. There's time to grow, and that matters inside an organization, but there's no hiding it anymore. This is a real competition, not media talk, not coach speak. It's real. Practice, preseason, every snap being evaluated. And here's something people forget. Last season showed what happens when you lack depth at quarterback. It was a real problem, and the team doesn't want to go through that again. That's why Wentz is here. Not to compete, but to stabilize things if something goes wrong. And that says a lot about how this staff is thinking. Now let's be real. Whoever wins this job carries the weight of leading the entire team. It's not just about playing well, it's about leadership, handling pressure, responding to adversity. And I'll tell you this is far from decided. Because while Murray has the edge now, McCarthy is closing the gap. Fast, training, refining mechanics, improving physically. That kind of progress can flip everything. We've seen it before. One starts ahead, the other catches up and takes over. That's the NFL. But one thing is clear now. There's no third option, no surprise contender. The competition is set, and that puts pressure on both. Every mistake matters. Every big play matters even more. So let me ask you, who would you start today? Because this decision is not simple, not at all. And if you think this battle is already intense, just wait until you hear what was said internally about it. There are moments when words shift the entire atmosphere. It's not about plays, not about practice. It's about what's said inside the building. And this time, what came out made everything even clearer. The coaching staff decided to be direct. No protecting, no hiding reality. The message was clear to the players competing for the most important position on the team. And the names are familiar: J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray. The head coach was honest with the young quarterback. He said the room needed to be elevated. That bringing in more talent wasn't a threat. It was the standard. It was what winning requires. And that changes everything, because it's no longer about comfortable development. It's about real competition, face to face. McCarthy returned to Minnesota after spending part of the offseason training elsewhere, working on mechanics, refining details, building strength. The kind of grind only someone chasing a starting job embraces. But when you look at last season's numbers, you understand why this pressure exists. Production below expectations. Questionable decisions in key moments. Nothing that can't improve, but nothing that guarantees success either. On the other side, Murray arrives with that fresh start narrative, leaving a situation that clearly wasn't working anymore. And sometimes that lights a different kind of fire in a player. And I'll tell you, players with something to prove can be dangerous. His former head coach even said the separation was best for both sides. That's standard line. But we all know how that works. There's always fuel behind it. Now combine that with an offensive system that has already helped other quarterbacks elevate their game. You've got a dangerous setup, but nothing comes free. Murray will have to prove consistency. He'll have to show he can lead this offense without the ups and downs. And McCarthy, he needs to respond quickly, because development time in the NFL isn't unlimited. This competition isn't just technical, it's mental. It's about who handles pressure better, who makes fewer mistakes, who rises at the right moments. And the wild part? The team isn't naming a favorite publicly. They're letting it play out, letting the field decide. That's good, but it's also brutal, because someone is going to lose this battle. And when that happens, the impact will be huge. In the locker room, among the fans, across everyone following this team closely. And if this already feels intense, the next story shifts the tone. Less competition, more emotion, but it still hits hard for anyone who has followed this journey. Now this one hits differently. It's not about competition or strategy. It's the kind of story that lands in a more personal way for longtime fans. Because when a familiar name resurfaces, the memories come with it. Plays, moments, big games, they all come back. And this time it's KJ Osborne. A lot of people remember him well. He wasn't the main target. He was never the star of the offense, but he was reliable. The kind of player who showed up when it mattered. Third down, tight situations. He was there. After leaving, his path wasn't easy. He moved between teams. He tried to find his footing. He saw limited opportunities. That grind that so many players go through. Not everyone finds stability in this league. And now, there's a new opportunity, a short-term deal, a chance to reset. And sometimes, that's all a player needs. But at the same time, this exposes a gap here in Minnesota. The third receiver spot is still open. No clear answer yet. There are young players trying to step up. Veteran names being mentioned. Draft possibilities on the table, but nothing settled. Nothing you can point to and say, that's the guy. And that can become a problem, because you can't rely on your top weapons all the time. The season is long. Defenses adjust. Injuries happen. You need depth. And Osborne, whether people admit it or not, provided that. He wasn't perfect, but he did his job. And losing that kind of piece always leaves a gap. Now the team has to decide how to fill it. Trust internal development, bring in experience, or use draft capital. That decision will shape how this offense operates next season, because it's not just about talent. It's about fit, timing, trust with the quarterback, and I'll tell you, when that third option works, the entire offense changes. It becomes unpredictable, harder to defend. This isn't a small detail. It's a key piece of the puzzle. Seeing Osborne move on brings that mixed feeling. You root for him. But at the same time, you wonder, who takes that role now? Because one thing is certain, that spot can't stay open for long. And when you look at everything we've talked about, you can feel it. This team is at a turning point. And when you put all of this together, you can feel exactly where this team stands. There's bold thinking in the draft. There's a major decision looming on defense. There's a wide open battle on offense. And there's a change that hits longtime fans emotionally. None of this is small. This roster is being pushed forward, trying to take that next step. But at the same time, every decision can shift the direction of the entire season. Now let me ask you, what stood out to you the most? Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go.